There is more fallout tonight from our investigation into a Scientology-linked drug treatment program. Since our first stories aired Monday, Narconon International has changed its website to stop claims that the Georgia facility offers long-term residential treatment. Channel 2 investigative reporter Jody Fleischer here with other changes we could see.
Justin, Georgia's Narconon program is only licensed for outpatient treatment. That means none of the patients or their families should believe they are getting residential care. But the state has failed to take any action after a dozen complaints. The family of a patient who died hopes that will now change.
Across the country, internationally, I would love to see every Narconon shut down.
From parents grieving the loss of their son,
I don't know how safe clients are, even to this day,
to former Narconon employees and whistleblowers.
It's extremely irresponsible to not shut at least the housing down.
Demands for action.
It's shocking to me that if you have multiple reports that you're not going to have a government agency say where there's this much smoke, there must be a fire.
But the head of Georgia's Department of Community Health says a dozen complaints and even Narconon advertising itself as a long-term residential facility was not enough proof in the past.
I think this was a close call, holding themselves out as a residential treatment center versus actually running one. I think was an important distinction legally.
He says he would consider asking legislators to include drug rehab facilities in last year's expansion of Georgia law, toughening regulations on nursing homes.
I think it's always good to take a look at things. I would not rule that out.
But he points out state investigators do not have subpoena power and are often left to rely on facilities being truthful.
Maybe this is one of the fundamental things that could come out of this case. They don't have a whole lot of teeth to deal with these drug and alcohol facilities that aren't being candid with them.
Narconon's executive director says she never lied to the state and that all of her patients signed documents acknowledging the outpatient treatment.
Why on earth am I going to create some kind of scheme? Oh, let me create some kind of plot so I can help you. It's ridiculous.
But profitable. Colleen Desmond says she spent $30,000 at Narconon only to have her son Patrick die while enrolled there.
Unbelievably angry. How could this go on? How could the state of Georgia let this go on?
She says Mary Reeser told them and Patrick's drug court administrator the program was residential. Reeser says now she asks every client.
It's been a change that I've made since I realized that people lie, that they have a court order that I never saw, and then they lie as though I saw it.
Narconon International has now changed its website to no longer specify whether Georgia's program is residential or not.
It's an issue that we're going to be looking at, and I think there are a lot of facets, both within licensing and in terms of other areas like fraud. Licensing doesn't regulate fraud.
In my experience, generally, fraud would be grounds for revocation of a license.
Healthcare attorney Brian McAvoy says more investigation is needed, but Reeser is confident her program will prevail.
Even when you leave here, I'll walk out there and I will still be helping people. And I will still have people say, if it weren't for Narconon, I would be dead.
Tonight, we continue to get calls and emails from patients, former patients, and their families, all expressing concern about Georgia's Narconon program. We will continue to follow all of those leads and update you when the state completes its current investigation, opened as a result of the evidence we presented. Justin?
Thank you, Jody. Be sure to go to the 2 Investigates page at WSBTV.com. Under the News tab, have a look at the stories we've aired all this week on this investigation and to learn more about the man who died. You also can find more in Sunday's edition of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and on WSB Radio.